Tony Khan was booed over the weekend in Australia. Originally, that AEW Australia Grand Slam event was going to be at a 53,000 seat stadium. Forget if it was 53 or 58, but over 50,000 seat stadium, big pay per view. They ended up having about 9,000 fans in the building. I don't know how many of those were comped. They were in a smaller building. No MJF on the show, no Lashley, no Young Bucks, but it was a more stacked than normal Collision slash ROH taping. The thing about AEW is they did get a boosted interest for that Collision. They could use higher star power every Collision if they wanted to. They just choose not. They just choose to pay stars and not use them. I mean, I'm sure they could have Moxley on every Collision. They're supposed to be paying him around $6 million a year. Supposedly, Mercedes Moné's making around $5. Why would you not use all your top stars? Like MJF wrestled 4 times last year, made minimum $5 million a year. It's silly. Oh well. Apparently, there was also Buddy Matthews injured his ankle. There was some complaints. They used a local Australia ring, which was smaller than the regular rings. Here's the weird thing. AEW can afford to pay guys like Jake the Snake 600,000 plus a year to sit at home. Jim Ross supposedly over 600,000 a year to do very little. Wardlow, when's the last time you've seen him? Ray Phoenix, he's just sitting at home, but they can't afford to ship a ring to Australia or have a custom ring built in Australia. They rent an independent company's ring. To me, it's just bizarre. I don't understand it at all. Triple H announced today that WWE is going to have championships that are going to be defended on the independent scene for the first time, called WWE ID Championships. He says that there's going to be a tournament for these championships taking place on the top independent wrestling promotion in the world. So here's the question. They haven't announced which wrestling organization that's going to take place on yet. They are affiliated with numerous of them, including Booker T's. But if it's an indie company that uses WWE ID talent and are probably helped fund by WWE in some ways and have agreements with them, are they truly independent companies? I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's smart. There's some people wondering, hey, well, an independent wrestler like maybe Hannibal could wrestle one of these ID talents and just beat them and take the title. I don't think that would ever happen. I think they'll be very careful with who they let these guys wrestle. It'll have to be approved by WWE, and they're not just going to be wrestling somewhere in Saskatchewan against some random wrestler defending that title in a situation where somebody could shoot on them and technically take one of those titles. I'm sure it's going to be very controlled situations, but I did listen to Wrestling Observer Radio today, and they mentioned that there's a lot of titles in WWE that are created and then hardly ever mentioned or acknowledged on the main shows, such as the Speed Champions. Like, who even knows who the Speed Champions are? But there are WWE Speed Champions out there for anyone that cares about that. The other weird thing, the WWE Legends and Future Greats show aired for the first time on the weekend. These are all contracted wrestlers. They're doing a Tough Enough show, but the difference between this and Tough Enough is these wrestlers are all already under contract, and most of them are college athletes or athletes that have been getting paid to train to begin with, rather than people that have always had the dream of wrestling and have worked their way up through the indies or done something like how the original Tough Enough people got on. Just to me, the whole concept of the show makes me not want to watch, because what the hell? Why do I want to watch wrestlers who may not have even wanted to become a wrestler if they're not getting paid to train? Train. They already have the contracts. It's not like they're competing to get a contract. It's, to me, it's just filler programming, but good for them for getting money. WWE wrestler Mia Yim revealed that WWE has removed marijuana from their list of banned substances. I heard that for a long time they haven't really been enforcing that one, and if they have, it's just been a fine. You wouldn't get a suspension. I mean, marijuana overall is better than alcohol, in my opinion, for potential bad side effects. Because you're not really going to have a marijuana blackout unless you just fall asleep. Where alcohol, people black out and can do things that they'll regret horribly. And bad overall, I've had experience with both. You can have more control of yourself with marijuana, but I stopped using marijuana due to the effects of increased paranoia it can have you. I had some traumatic stuff happen to me, and ever since that traumatic stuff happened to me, every time I used it, all it did was cause me terrible anxiety and paranoia. So to me, it has no beneficial effects. There's something else called kratom that can be used as a workout supplement, and it can help you with anxiety and stuff. That is, I don't know where you get. It's legal in Canada and the U.S. In U.S., you can get it at like smoke shops or vape shops, but it's not marijuana. In Canada, I hear you get it at marijuana stores for whatever reason. But to me, and it's very expensive. It's like $20 to $30 American for a dose of it. In a lot of cases, there you go. It's not legal here in Kansas, but it's legal in a lot of states. But as I said, I mean, to me, the if you go through some trauma and you've had something bad happen and it brings you back to that traumatic place, it's no longer has any good effect. But it will help you sleep, for sure. I definitely noticed that effect. It can help you in some ways and definitely has side effects in some ways. So I'm not saying anything for or against it, other than, in my opinion, I don't think it should be banned by WWE. I think that's the right decision because it's the lesser of evils when you compare it to, like, if you look at the number of deaths that happen from alcohol compared to marijuana, it's far more from alcohol. And I'm not saying that alcohol should be banned. If you like beer, drink all of it you want. I'm just telling you guys my personal opinion. I'm training right now, so there's nothing like that I'd want to take right now anyways. Conor McGregor has filed an appeal on the verdict in a sexual assault lawsuit brought on by Nikita Hand, who, the weird thing about that lawsuit is she accused another person of sexual assault as well, and the other person got off. So how did she accuse one person and that didn't end up being true, but it was true for McGregor? It'll be interesting to see how that appeal goes. Yes, truth teller, there are some people that can drink responsibly, and there's other wild party animals that only bad stuff ends up happening. One of them being Hulk Hogan, who's involved in a lawsuit right now because he may have allegedly thrown a beer can in a woman's face.